Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. And today we'll talk about the FTX fiasco caused by Sam Bankman-Fried's, also known as SBF, double or nothing philosophy. So let's talk about what this is about, the dangers of this risk-taking that led to the collapse of FTX coming from philosophy. Hear me out. This coming from philosophy, specifically SBF's double or nothing philosophy. So he did a podcast interview, Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF again, and he was asked by Tyler Cowen in this podcast the following. So let me quote. Tyler Cowen said, quote, "Let's say there's a game. 51% you double the earth out somewhere else. 41% it all disappears. Would you play that game? And would you keep on playing that, double or nothing?" Unquote. Vast majority of us, I wouldn't take that risk. I think you wouldn't take that risk. The vast majority of us wouldn't take that risk. It seems pretty morally atrocious to just take the risk of 49% chance of everything disappearing, all human civilization, everyone, everywhere, just because you essentially flipped a coin for a 51% chance of doubling its value. It's a coin flip, right? But this high risk, high reward, very high danger strategy is exactly what SBF pursued. He said he would play that game and he'd continue playing it as long as he was offered that option for the possibility of flipping his way into an enormously valuable existence. Now, his willingness to take that risk, let's be clear, that's what led to his wealth. He was worth $26 billion in 2021. But it also made his wealth very fragile. It resulted in the collapse of FTX exchange and the rest of his financial empire, 130 entities, because his luck finally ran out. So his company filed for bankruptcy, as well as all the other umbrella organization, as a result of pretty shady and highly risky bets and trades he made, which led to a run on the exchange, so the FTX.com exchange, and federal investigations for fraud, and the criminal trial that he's under right now. So SBF resigned as the CEO of FTX, and his wealth shrank to nearly zero, as far as we can tell, as a result. Now, he admitted that his mishandling of client funds was a poor judgment call. So he admitted to making mistakes and labeling bank-related accounts and misjudging user wealth. That's what he talked about. But external investigations also revealed very, very poor bookkeeping, very high optimism about user funds. This crisis is a huge problem. So even Binance, the largest remaining exchange, backed out of a plan to buy FTX because of mishandling of customer funds and serious problems with bookkeeping. It described the books as nightmare, black hole. Pretty harsh words. And now the bankruptcy that FTX is under revealed very serious mismanagement at FTX. So US regulators right now, they're investigating FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried for violating securities fraud relating to customer funds. Apparently, SBF created a backdoor into the FTX bookkeeping system, and he was able to use it to transfer secretly 10 billion funds out of the FTX exchange, so customer funds, into his own trading company, Alameda Research, which was used to cover the losses at Alameda Research. And he called moving the funds to Alameda, a poor judgment call, right? This essentially fraudulent activity. And he's now under home arrest. He is awaiting the ongoing trial. So the trial is already ongoing. He pleaded not guilty, and he's under home arrest out on bail, under $250 million of bail. And he's in criminal charges for fraud, for what prosecutors describe as misleading investors and stealing money from clients. Now, this downfall of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried was a failure of oversight and risk management. That's what it comes down to, oversight and risk management. The inner circle of executives at FTX, we know they lived together at a luxury penthouse, so they had very strong personal bonds and romantic bonds. They dated each other. Former FTX employees described the inner circle as a place full of conflicts of interest, nepotism, lack of oversight, and so the personal loyalty that the inner circle had toward each other made oversight and risk management, let's just say, it's very difficult. And so this high-risk decision-making led Sam Bankman-Fried to ignore risk management. And disregarding this risk management, this came from Sam Bankman-Fried's philosophy, his high-risk, high-reward philosophy, which led to the huge losses at Alameda Research, which needed then, he felt it was needed to be covered by the customer funds at FTX, from FTX, otherwise Alameda Research would go under, and he wasn't willing to let it go under. He decided to take a huge risk of transferring customer funds, hoping that it wouldn't be found out, but it was found out. And so this neglect of risk management allowed these secret software backdoors, shitty bookkeeping, and mishandling of client funds. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried is not the only top-level, high-level, super rich person who ignores risk management. Let's take Elon Musk as an example. When he took over Twitter, bought Twitter for $44 billion, which he way overpaid for Twitter according to external evaluators, he fired essentially all of Twitter's executive team. The vast majority was fired, then a couple of other ones quit later onward when they saw how Elon Musk was not doing the right things in handling Twitter security and risk management. And he replaced them with a loyal inner circle with no risk management, no oversight over himself. And so he made many decisions that turned out badly. For example, consider Twitter's blue checkmark badges. So Musk introduced blue checkmark verification badges, which were previously restricted to people who are public figures and to organizations, corporations, government entities, and so on. And he introduced these to everyone who's willing to pay $8 a month without verifying user identity. So that led to many, many fake accounts with blue check marks. They impersonated real people, real companies, and that resulted in a lot of misinformation. So widespread criticism, many advertisers abandoned Twitter because essentially they were being impersonated. Companies were being impersonated. So in response, Elon paused the paid verification program, not before it did a lot of damage. And so we could see the dangers of ignoring risk management, both from Musk and Sam Bankman-Fried. So Musk's risk-taking at Twitter might well result in a bankruptcy because there's no oversight over Musk's actions that will and are turning out badly. Whereas with SBF, his risk-taking at FTX already resulted in bankruptcy, harming large investors and destroying the savings of many, many ordinary people, hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million, who held their money in FTX. And so that's right now, SBF is facing criminal trial with up to 115 years in prison that he might go to jail for. And so the SBF's misdeeds, it also harms his charitable causes. So SBF hoped to inspire billionaires to donate rapidly in their lifetime, hundreds of millions of dollars. And he made commitments to many charity projects, which are now in limbo. So he already gave hundreds of millions of dollars, and he made hundreds of millions of dollars more in commitment. So the charity started projects based on his commitment, but of course he's not able to follow through right now. And so the employees at SBF's philanthropic organization resigned, the Future Fund, due to this revelations of misdeeds at FTX, citing concerns of legitimacy and integrity of FTX as a business because they didn't want to be associated with it. It's understandable why they did so. But again, this is all leading to a large blow to really good charities that FTX was supporting, like pandemic mitigation, risk management of strategies. So the importance of risk management for executives is really shown by both Sam Bankman-Fried and Elon Musk. So the FTX bankruptcy resulted from SBF's excessive risk-taking philosophy. And Musk's poor decision-making at Twitter is also coming from excessive risk-taking by Musk. That shows why it's so important for executives to have someone to help rein them in, to have risk management, addressing blind spots, and having oversight. So reining in impulsive executives is really needed. So you need to have risk managers for executives who should be in a strong and respected position. So when I serve as a risk manager for executives, I know I need to have an ability to credibly rein in the executive, which means having direct access to the board of directors and or others, large investors who can help me rein in the executive. In the vast majority of the cases, I wouldn't use this access, but I need to have it so I can talk to the executive and rein them in. And so that leads me to the question of how to invest wisely. Before investing in a company, assess how its executives handle risk management and oversight. Be really cautious of executives like Elon Musk who don't have someone to rein in their impulsive, their risky actions, because excessive risk-taking might lead to gambling. And Elon Musk definitely gambles, as did SBF, rather than a wise investment of money. So you don't want to gamble yourself. Make wise decisions by evaluating the risk management of executives and someone's ability to rein them in before you invest that money. All right, everyone. I hope you benefited from this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please leave a review wherever you checked out this podcast and make sure to subscribe to it. Reviews, of course, help us really improve the show and help others discover the show. And send me an email with your thoughts about this podcast so that I'll be happy. Read every email and I'll be happy to respond. My name again is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the company future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And my email is gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com. So Gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com. I read every email and I'll be happy to read yours and respond to it. All right, everyone. I hope I see you in the next episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. In the meantime, the wisest and most profitable decisions to you, my friends.